So what you're going to do is you put your big roll here, and you pull out a bit, and you put it on your small roll, and then you make it go to nothing, go to zero. And then you start. And here you go, and you wind up, and you count the meters. That's 1 meter.
I'm going to try and get to 900.
You'll be there for a long time,
Actually, no, I can just do this.
Yeah, there we go. And go back the other way, and then it goes to 999.
Did it.
This is our fridge. Okay, and in here we store carbon fiber and glass fiber pre-pregs. And pre-pregs means that the resin is already put into the fabric. Okay, but we have to keep it in the freezer so it doesn't cure.
Here, it's already cured.
No, it's not cured. It still needs heat to cure it. So if you leave it out, just the ambient temperature will cure it. So we keep it in it. Come feel that cold. Yeah.
Oh!
Go in there. Look at all the ice on the
Ugh, stinks.
Hey, can I leave you in there for a while?
No. I like the cold temperature, I just don't like the smell.
It's cold in there, huh?
So very hot afternoon, and it's not great for us because obviously we want the temperature to be a little bit lower, but I've waited until as late as possible, I suppose, to get the process going. So the polystyrene plug is basically ready now. We've made all the little grooves, we've made the inspection holes and inspection areas so that we can work on the car. I mean, you can see, obviously, the first one to see is here. Here, we've got the holes for the pin locking system that we'll obviously have to, when we get to that bridge, cross it. Got the inspection. I made them big enough so I could fit my hand through. You know, this is going to be the final, pretty much the final dimension. There's about 2 mil, 3 mil that goes over this. You can see here where the shape starts to go outwards, and really what happens is the crash structure, there's 2 crash structures that sit over here on the side, and then the cowling goes according to that line, and then you can see this little groove here. In our designs, when we did it, we said that the floor tray would go on. So when the floor tray goes in, the floor tray should be flush with the safety tub. So that should make it nice and streamlined, and you know, just easier to put it together when you know where everything goes. Let's look inside. So this is pretty much what will be there, and then the tub will taper downwards. This will have a slight cutout or radius here, because over here we've got the rollover bar. So there's 2 rollover bars that will be in the tub. So it's a 2-piece tub. The tub is glued together. The rollover bar sits in here. Don't have the drawings with me, but I'm sure the second is somewhere around here-ish, just in front of the rocker area, or just above the rocker area. And then obviously this piece here is going to be quite thick. This will probably be around 60 millimeters thick. So it's going to be a proper piece of kit in the front here. Yeah, so, obviously, again, this is our interpretation of what this would look like, and it's our design. We have over here, we're going to be able to put the bladder in through here, and over here will be the filling nozzle. So, our plan is just to take this and machine a piece that's exactly same diameter, so radius and curve as this piece here. We'll probably have to scan this piece in, 3D scan this piece in, get the engineer to draw it up, and that will beautifully machine aluminium plate would go in here, and the filling cap and everything would be sunk into that aluminium machine piece. So obviously these are all we hope to achieve, but I'm pretty sure we'll get there. So yeah, the rollover bar will go here. So because we obviously don't have the resources, like a Delara or any company that's manufacturing these tubs has, I don't have the confidence that we'll be able to pass a crash test on that structure. And so that will be made out of most likely a very thick chromoly, and that will be bolted in. So there'll be aluminium hard points in large portions of this tub. You'll see when we do the tub, we'll have various areas with the hard points in there. It's going to be a nightmare, I think, at least to try and remember where they all went. But yeah, guys, that's what it looks like, and we are now ready for the big jump, and let's get it going. So what I've done is I've hijacked our dining room table. I'm sure my wife will be very impressed when she watches this video. I've built up our new vacuum bag, which we're going to be using now with the final layup for the tub. We're still on the plug phase. Look, I know we spend a lot of time on the plug, but the reality is the more time you spend on the plug, ultimately the better chance your mold has of coming out. Anyway, so what I've done in the past is just simply taken the bag, taken some peel ply, and thrown the breather cloth over it, purely because I don't mind spending the time ripping everything out. And from a cost point of view, I'm not using all the really high-end breather fabrics and all that kind of jazz. So this round we're going with obviously the more costly goodies and items, and the main reason for that now is because we spent a load of time on the tub, and we're now ready to get the final layer of fiberglass on there. And I'd like to make sure that we get into all the nooks and crevices and make sure that the finish is as tight as possible. All right, so let's talk through the layers now. So we've got our peel ply. So we're going to have our glass and resin. Then we'll have our peel ply. Then we're going to have our breather sheet. And if you look close, you can see it's got little perforations in it. This will make sure that I can get a really good vacuum. And that obviously then next, after that layer, we have our breather cloth. And so it's also going to absorb some of the excess resin that we apply. And then we've got our vacuum bag. And that will be the layup process now. We're just trying to come up with the final solution how we're going to lay up the tub. One of the ideas I had was to put it upright like this and then layer it all up. But thinking about it, we worried about all the little crevices. So we're going to try do it in one layup, and I think that will be quite difficult, but we're going to try it. Worst case, it doesn't work, cut away some of the wet cloth, throw it in the vacuum bag, and carry on. Okay, so we've just started laying up all of the filler now, and then we're going to do one more layer of fiberglass over this once it's sanded, and that should give us the finish we want. Then we'll obviously do the top coats with the primer and the filler. So yeah, it's coming together. A lot of work though. Two layers of fiberglass, slightly overlapped, peel ply slightly longer, going to blend it into the current piece. No vacuum needed for this one, all the curves are fairly simple. Worst case scenario, I might have to just put a water bag, or I've got some flexible sandbag just on the edges, but no, pretty sure we'll be just fine. so far so good, and it does peel fairly easily. Let's have a quick look. That's quite cool actually. So the little notch, I laid up 1 or 2 pieces underneath it. It's going to have a small bubble there, but bearing in mind that this is not going to have any real pressure on it, so shouldn't have any compression of that little piece. Yeah, there's an air bubble there. Let's sand that down, fill. So this is now 2.5 layers of fiberglass on the top section. When I mean half, I mean we've got 3 layers on top and 2 layers on the bottom, and we're now putting on nice thick resin onto this, and we're going to take the mat, the fiberglass, and then we're going to start layering up the mat as it gets tacky. Instead of doing a vacuum bag again, and we're going to layer it all on there and slowly hand massage, for lack of better terms, the fiberglass sheet back down, the matting down. You know, we've given everything radiuses. We've tried to you know, give it as much I suppose chamfer on all the ins and all the outs, so that once we make the mold, you know, this thing will just kind of pop out of the actual mold. So this plug will pop out, and then the finished piece itself will obviously also just hopefully pop out. So this has been ready for a while now, and yeah, I've just really wanted to get going, but obviously with everything going on in the world right now, we've also been on lockdown in South Africa, and so I haven't been able to spray it or get it sprayed. So what I decided to do, and hopefully it works, is just set up a little spray booth in the garage with an extraction fan that I made up, which I'll show you now. And we're going to give this thing a quick spray and see what it looks like. Hopefully it comes out looking the part. You'll notice that I joined the nose to the actual tub. The main reason for that is just because I couldn't get the joints to be perfect. So we're going to make a split mold, and then I've got a little separating sheet inside there. I'll break it off, and then we'll finalize all of that. And I've got my 2 helpers. Got Ariella. I got Caleb. So let's see how it goes, guys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
couple of sands went quite well, and you can see it's still got a grain to it now. It's smooth, but it's got a grain to it. And yeah, so all I need to do now is I need to start going on with some, obviously you can see the small issues here and there. So this will be flattened out now. You can see in some areas I flatten all the way down to the base coat. It's not a major. If I have to respray it, I will. And so yeah, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to start hitting it with some wet paper again, and start with 800, 1000, 1500, then 3000, and then do a proper polish on it. And you can see the mess. It looks like carnage in this place. Done more sanding than any man should ever do in his entire life, but a little bit OCD, I think, with how I wanted everything to work out. So ultimately, you know, all the little imperfections and all the little areas where the initial layers of the fill hadn't taken place were irritating me. So, you know, I did go back and I did fill it and I did sand it again, and yeah, which ultimately came out to one thing only. That meant I needed to do one more coat on of the final, so 1 or 2 coats, which we'll have ultimately have done 4 coats of primer. Obviously, we've been sanding those coats down, and then we'll have done 3 coats of final. We've sanded those down, and now just done another 2 coats in black because I ran out of blue. Didn't have much left. Obviously, during lockdown, we plan any of this. So I had about 1.8 litres somewhere there of blue left, and a little bit left over, and like a half mix job to take place. And then I had some black, so I took the black, mixed that up, and I just had enough hardener to finish it. So this is now a little bit misty in the workshop because there's some overspray floating around, which I know I'm going to have to pay the price for, but ultimately we are in lockdown. We don't really have any other options. Wipe it. You can still see some of the various sanding marks, but now we're going to hit with the polish, and I'm pretty sure all these little marks will come out quite easily. I mean, I've already taken a little bit of polish and polished certain areas of it, and it came out fairly easy. So far, that's what we've got. We have another 3 more polishes to do. This is kind of what it's looking like so far.